This is your ABC Starter Kit on everything you need to know about Desperate Housewives.
Okay, so I have a paper route. That might sound boring, but you don't even know. Wisteria Lane must be the weirdest street in the whole town. It always seems like something's broken, or somebody's dead, or somebody's getting naked with people they shouldn't be getting naked with. There are these 4 ladies on the block who are always in the middle of everything.
And break.
Take Mrs. Solis. She's like smoking hot.
Feast your eyes!
My finger!
She was married to this rich guy who stole a bunch of money from his company or something.
I'm innocent, I swear to God.
He went to jail. They were poor after that. They tipped crap. But even when they were poor, the gardener was over there, like, all the time.
I am going to kill you!
They got divorced. Mrs. Scavo has lots of kids. She used to be a big businesswoman or something. Then she stayed home with her kids and her husband went to work, but that didn't work out. So then her husband stayed home and Mrs. Scavo went to work, but that really didn't work out. Then her husband opened a pizza parlor and she got cancer.
God, this is annoying!
She doesn't have cancer anymore, though. Then they hired this new chef at the restaurant, but I guess he didn't work out either.
I am taken!
But their pizza's still really good.
There you go.
So that worked out okay. Mrs. Hodge always makes me cinnamon muffins at Christmas.
Deviled egg, puff pastry.
Paprika!
I told you she'd have food.
She has 2 kids, and I thought her daughter got pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
But then Mrs. Hodge had a baby, so I'm confused. She used to be married to Mr. Vandekamp.
I like to be dominated.
But he died. Now she's married to Mr. Hodge.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
I hope he doesn't die, too. Ms. Meyer and Mr. Delfino used to live across the street from each other.
Mom, the dish is clean. Oh,
They dated for a while, and then they broke up.
Get out.
Then they got back together again.
I know you like pie.
Now they're married, but I think he's on drugs. He's been acting kind of weird lately.
Mike, stop!
Ms. Britt is crazy.
You tell I'm not wearing any underwear?
Yes?
Good.
She dated Mr. Delfino for a while. Then she dated Mr. Solis for a while, and then she tried to kill herself. But Mr. Solis saved her.
Hey.
Oh, careful.
The neck.
The Mayfairs moved in not too long ago.
Catherine.
I guess Mrs. Mayfair lived here before with her first husband. Anyway, the husband she has now is making out with some other lady, and Mrs. Mayfair found out because the other lady locked herself in the bathroom. I guess she was messed up in the head.
Is that you, darling?
But then she got killed in the storm. Oh yeah, the storm. It was awesome. Mrs. Scavo's whole family almost died. They stayed in this other house on the block that got smashed by the tornado. Everybody's okay, but it was scary.
Oh my God.
Mrs. Solis's new husband, the mayor, got killed in the storm too. Mr. Solis got totally blinded, but Mrs. Solis didn't know that when she remarried him.
His condition is permanent.
She knows now. Somehow, Miss Britt found out that Mrs. Hodge's baby was really her daughter's, and she tried to blackmail her.
I own you.
But Mrs. Hodge told all her friends the truth, and they got together and kicked Miss Britt to the curb.
We're done.
Remember that chef the Scavos fired? He opened his own place across the street. Mr. Scavo wasn't too happy about that. Mrs. Scavo thought it was her husband who burned the place down, but it was their sons who were talked into it by their stepsister, Kayla.
Just give me what I want.
She's evil. She got Mrs. Scavo arrested, so Mr. Scavo sent her to live with her grandparents. Mrs. Mayfair's first husband found out that Dylan wasn't really his daughter.
Ow, Dad, you're hurting me.
He did some mean stuff to find out what really happened to her. Turns out the girl died in an accident and Mrs. Mayfair replaced her with an orphan girl from someplace called Romania.
I'll make you pay.
He got so mad that Mrs. Mayfair had to kill him. All the ladies decided to back up Mrs. Mayfair's story.
This was obviously self-defense.
Oh yeah, one other thing. When Mr. Delfino came back from rehab, Miss Meyer had their baby, and they named him...
Maynard.
What kind of name is that?
Maynard.
Boy, is he gonna get beat up with that name. Well, that was all back when I was a paper boy. I'm 5 years older now, and what happens on Wisteria Lane still blows me away. Mrs. Mayfair is part of the gang now. Mrs. Solis has 2 girls.
Run, Sheila, run! My beer wang!
And Mrs. Scavo's boys?
He broke into a car at the mall and took it for a joyride.
Again?
Well, my mom won't let me hang out with them. Mrs. Hodge is some big-time cookbook writer.
And the New York Times wants to do the interview now.
And Ms. Meyer?
Did you miss me?
You know I did.
Let's just say she's full of surprises.
Desperate Housewives, Seasons 1, 2, and 3 available now on DVD. Season 4 available September 2nd. Full episodes available at abc.com. And mark your calendar, the Desperate Housewives season premiere Sunday, September 28th at 9/8 Central on ABC.